Don in London, hello. It's Friday the 13th, and I hope nobody's too suspicious out there, but I'm going to take extra care today. Try and live in the moment and be aware of my surroundings and what is going on. So, Friday the 13th, 2009, my video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My substance, alcohol, my behaviour, anything which would take me out of my feeling of fear, ego and brave facing. Trying to find a bit of courage, faith and confidence on a daily basis now to make life work. And what helps me most is the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't speak for Alcoholics Anonymous, nobody does, and it neither opposes nor supports my videos. They're just my way of helping me with my recovery, put my mind into the moment of now, if you like. That's what I'm trying to do. Going to AA meetings has saved my life without a doubt, and learning how to live sober. I had no clue. My best thinking got me into the trouble of addiction. My best feelings these days keep me out of it. And my feelings are all over the place at the moment. How am I feeling? Absolutely up and down in every moment. I'm going through a regime change to do with type 1 diabetes and clinical depression. And I couldn't get anywhere near to having a chance to manage or get on with type 1 diabetes or clinical depression if it hadn't been for the fellowship of AA. So my gratitude is beyond belief. Well, it's not beyond my understanding. Somehow it seems to have kept me on the right path, and that is because I've been in the company of people who have the wisdom, experience, strength and hope to make life work just one day at a time. And that doesn't mean it's going to be happy and joyful all the time. Life is as it is. M. Scott Peck, in his book The Road Less Travelled, said life is difficult. And when his obituary was done, it started with the chain-smoking, gin-sodden philanderer M. Scott Peck said life is difficult. And he also said, when he heard that, I understand, that he said, I'm neither saint nor prophet. So I'm neither one of those things either, neither saint nor prophet, just an ordinary person trying to make fellowship work. So that's not an excuse. This is the reason why I do these things. And I try and share a message which is positive and hopeful, even when it can be calamitous. And at the moment my mood is calamitous. It's all over the place. And I cannot change that. I just need to understand where I am today. And that's where serenity is. Serenity isn't abject misery or abject absolute wonderfulness. It's just where we are and understanding our human condition. The books I use, Daily Reflections is an AA literature book, and it's covering the 12 steps of AA, one a month, and I'm on step 2, all about sanity. And it says here on February 13th, we can't think our way to sober. To the intellectually self-sufficient man or woman, many AAs can say, yes, we were like you, far too smart for our own good. Secretly we felt we could float above the rest of folks on our brain power alone. And that comes from As Bill Sees It, page 60, and I'll be referring to that in a moment. But what it says next is, even the most brilliant mind is no defence against the disease of alcoholism. I can't think of my way sober. I try to remember that intelligence is a God-given attribute that I may use. A joy, like having a talent for dancing or drawing or carpentry. It does not make me better than anyone else, and it is not a particularly reliable tool for recovery, for it is a power greater than myself who will restore me to sanity, not a high IQ or a college degree. And it mentions God there. It's of nature and providence for me, and behind that is divinity if you go by the dictionaries. And I don't understand divinity, and I won't understand God because it's a power greater than me. But what I understand is that I have some God-given or nature and providence-given attributes, and my thinking power kept me drinking because I was trying to use my self-will and willpower, and it let me down over and over again. And now I'm using emotional power, if you like, my emotional understanding of my feelings. I feel better in fellowship where I can keep sober. I feel more able to deal with life, even when it is a calamity. And on page 26 here, I'm just doing these in no particular order except the order in the book of As Bill Sees It. It says this, the true independence of spirit. That was yesterday. Come on to today. Yes, the daily reprieve. All about the day. We are not cured of alcoholism. What we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. And for me, spiritual is the maintenance of truth, understanding my feelings and seeing how I'm going. We of AA obey spiritual principles, at first because we must, then because we ought to, and ultimately because we love the kind of life such obedience brings. Great suffering and great love are AA's disciplinarians. We need no others. And for me, understanding to the obedience to spiritual principles, I have to have some principles to start with. So my spiritual principle is understanding that truth will help me most. Open, honest and willing are the touchstones as well towards truth. And for me, as Gandhi said, God is truth, God is love, and God works through people. And that's my understanding. We need to come to our own understanding, not mine. You need not take or adopt mine. I hope you don't. Just find your own, what works for you. And the obey bit is really a personal discipline of understanding our feelings, and then being able to live the day, breathe the day, and experience it as it is without trying to cover up. And that's not always easy to do, because we feel weakness when we tell the truth around some of our more vulnerable times. And I am very vulnerable at the moment, and I need to be aware that life is difficult for me. In this book, the 12 by 12, there's a passage here, and probably has a lot to do with it. Appropriate to me, it says here, sometimes AA comes hard. Excuse me for one moment. A reminder, turn my phone ringer off. Sometimes AA comes hard to those who have lost or rejected faith, than to those who never had faith at all. For they think they have tried faith and found it wanting. They have tried the way of faith and the way of no faith. Since both ways have proved bitterly disappointing, they have concluded there is no place whatever for them to go. The roadblocks of indifference, fancied self-sufficiency, prejudice and defiance often prove more solid and formidable for these people than any erected by the unconvinced agnostic or even the militant atheist. Religion says the existence of God can be proved. The agnostic says it can't be proved, or the atheist claims proof of the non-existence of God. Obviously, the dilemma of the wanderer from faith is that of profound confusion. He thinks himself lost to the comfort of any conviction at all. He cannot attain even a small degree of the assurance of the believer, the agnostic or the atheist. He is the bewildered one. And, the more we rely on a faith which is blind, or we feel that we can prove it one way or another, I suspect we are in a difficult situation. So the real key in all of this is to understand what your own faith is. Faith in people, faith in what you see, what you hear. Experience, strength and hope learned as we go along, listening to the experience, strength and hope of others, learning the difference. Wisdom, absolute wisdom of now. So I have to be very careful, not only because I'm sharing what my truth is. My truth is God is love, God is working through people, and my faith is in human nature, that the human nature that we have will turn to the good if it can, and if we are learning the good of good nature, good of good conscience, and life can be okay. And I also need to take account of my physical, spiritual and emotional well-being. So as I say, on many occasions, my best thinking got me to AA. My best feeling and understanding about life experience is keeping me in the moment of now. And I ask myself in the morning, how am I feeling? Why? What can I do? That's about being assertive with myself and reminding myself I am powerless over people, places, things, events which are beyond my control, which is mostly everything, except for one. That is based on the wisdom that I learn on a daily basis to make the best choices for myself. And how do I do that? Simply by saying to myself, God, grant me the serenity, and that's in truth, grant me the serenity, or in good conscience, grant me the serenity. Whatever it is that works as a way of faith. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. For in the end of all of this, all I can do is make the best choices based on the truth of now as I understand it, and then move into living and experiencing the day, getting out of the insanity of self-obsession and into a more sane place of letting life happen and being a part of it and seeing where I might go, just simply one day at a time.